Hello and welcome to a new series. I am going to start because you know what? I kind of want to do this and I just shook my camera sideways, but I don't care. So basically, I'm going to talk about manga, anime, all that kind of stuff. But this, I'm going to talk about a series known as Tokyo Ghoul. Probably what I would say is probably like one of the best starting series for anyone watching anime or reading manga. It's very in depth, very detailed, and the artwork style is just amazing. Um, one thing that you should always get started with is that what's the difference between the manga and the anime? Well, obviously one's a show and one's a book, but this is where it gets a bit controversial because basically I think around 6 books in, it's pretty much one for one, but until I don't know, after that it just goes haywire. Um so first season of Tokyo Ghoul, it's basically one for one. Besides the end of it, it gets a bit different, I'm pretty sure. It goes a bit off the rails. I'm not sure if I'm thinking of season 1 or season 2, but season 1 is pretty one for one with the first part of the manga, but it it it's the second season is definitely where it goes bad. Um, if you're not so much of a big reader, definitely I would say give the anime a go. It is a good anime. It's just once you read the manga, you're always gonna be like, the storyline is just so much better. It's everything about the manga is just so much better compared to the anime. Like season 1, cool, bang on. Season 2, it's like, okay, we're going the right tracks, but we're completely wrong. We're not going to be doing what you say you're doing. Um, before we start, spoiler warning. But I would assume that everyone has seen it because it came out like, I'm not going to say year because it was years ago. And it was too long ago for me to even me to be around when it actually did first start coming out. Um, one of the problems with season 2 and the manga is just the fact that it just derails completely from the original plot. Like Ken Kaneki, the guy that's supposed to hate Agili Tree, just joins them? Like, what are you doing there? I'm talking about the anime here. He joins them and fights alongside them. This is where everything is wrong. Like in the manga, he takes them down. Like he attacks them, not joins them. That's the difference. But the amount of backstory and other everyone else, like you see more into all the other characters besides Ken Kaneki because it's it needs to create a universe, but in the anime it starts off like that with the first season kind of sticking to the multi plots storyline stuff like that, but the anime is just abysmal. it it's just like it's like I had a quick glance through the manga and was like, nah. Oh, it's like, oh yeah, I get the story, something about a tree, and then let's just chuck this guy into it. Like, no, that is not how it happened. It has, it. No wonder everyone was so mad about season 2. No wonder so many people disliked season 2 of the anime because it got derailed so much from the manga. Like, it's a completely different story. Like, maybe if like being in an alternate universe or like dimension or all that shit, if that was an actual thing, but it's not. It's one universe basic stuff like ghouls eat humans and humans are fighting back with forgot the name, but they are it's they screwed it up completely. Um so the manga, great art style. I think it's probably one of my favorite mangas. I mean, even if like last book, that's deep, that cuts deep. The last, I mean, literally by the art style of the cover alone is enough to be like, yes, this is going to be good. I mean, of course you've got, it's a bit meh, but you know, we get to book 3. Okay, this is going to get interesting. And I feel like you get yeah, everything's worth reading. Every one of these is like, I was invested. I was invested with reading this manga. All 14 books of them. Yes, 14 books. Not sure on how many chapters, but 14 books. Let me do a quick flick through to the last chapter. No spoilers, but like it's still there are still some plot points that connect it with season 2, but it's just different. Like they go more into the clowns, which I would have loved to see in the anime, but they said no, no more clowns. We don't care about the clowns. I think I skipped the last chapter, unless the last chapter is massive. 143. 14 books and 143 chapters. That's just a little bit over about 10 chapters a book, but it's not that. But like 10 point something or other, but you know, we don't care about specifics on this channel. Book Series 1, Tokyo Ghoul. This is the box set cover. You get like a poster and some other stuff. But this book set 1, Tokyo Ghouls, covers seasons 1 and 2, and it is definitely worth a read. They for sure milked it, but there's a lot of content in the books, and I'm not gonna go through anything because it's not worth spoiling it. It's too good to spoil. But when it comes to the 3rd season of the anime, which is Tokyo Ghoul Re, following along with the manga Tokyo Ghoul Re, obviously, it again again it starts strong and ends as weak as possible. The manga did not. I it could have been better, but it all ends the same way basically. The the start is almost identical and same with the end, both in which, but it's always the content in the middle that changes so much that it becomes a completely different plot. It's one of the big things between manga and anime and changing from a book to a movie or even a TV series. They change the plot so much that it basically becomes its own work. It's no longer what fans have grown to love and enjoy because from that book and wanted to see someone's recreation of it through real life people or just animations. But it's it's a disappointment. Everyone was so excited for Tokyo Ghoul Race, this 3rd season of Tokyo Ghoul, and it just got ruined. Like it was good for people that hadn't like grown to love the manga and they have never read any part of it. It's a good anime, but it just for people that know the series, it just flops. It flops because it is nothing like nothing like the manga series. Like I personally, I read the anime first. No, not read the anime. I read the manga first, thinking, no, sorry, I watched the anime first. Like because I didn't have the money to read any of the mangas. I got that money. I bought both box sets, Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Re. As soon as I read Tokyo Ghoul, I was like, what the what is going on here? It is completely different. But Tokyo Ghoul, the manga, is the original work, so I was like, okay, it's a lot cooler, it's a lot more coherent, it's so much better. And then, and this is, I've already watched all of it, and there's just so many bits and pieces from the manga that they should have included in the anime. And I feel like a lot more people would be happier with the anime if they included it. Like, there was so much on the clowns, and I didn't realize. Like, characters that you don't realize are clowns until the third season. It's like, how are we supposed to know that when it already tells us this in like the original book series before the second series, Tokyo Ghoul Re? It's it's kind of just like, oh, we're gonna wait almost 6 years to animate and do the third season, Tokyo Ghoul Re, to be like, no, this this massive chunk of time between the second and the third season. So I was what third season came out 2020 or 2019, something like that. Original 20 the second season came out, I want to say 2015, 20 something or other. And the gap between those two, there was no news, there was no way of telling if there was going to be a new season. And then they bring out this jargon. Starts off pretty good, it's following pretty well, and then it just derails. This steamrolling train is going on forth, and it takes a completely different path. Like, who had the audacity to do something like that? Who did that? What director, what script writer, who even thought that it would be a good idea to derail it so much from the original series? Like, I understand, like, some companies, they have to make it a bit their own to, I don't know, maybe for time or maybe for some legal reasons that we don't quite understand. But I'm pretty sure if you make a contract, most people will be understanding if it's one for one or like just a little bit different. But this is a completely different plot. Like, it's not anything cut for time. Like, some things are cut for time, but then they just replace it with some other jargon. Like, why would you replace it with something that no one really cares about, or it's just a completely new thing that means nothing? But then, in the makings of the third season of the anime, they decided to have this break in between and then completely jump like this massive jump in time. And then it's like completely different. Like, yes, it alludes to it, but this break, I feel like there was something meant to happen in between that break. Like, but we don't know what happened besides the fact that they were running out of the amount of videos they could produce because it's like a contract and some other stuff. But it's just stuff like that that really disappoints me when it comes to rewrites and changing it from manga to anime. And I think Tokyo Ghoul is a massive example of how much something can change when it comes from manga to anime. And it's like, why? Just why? I'm sure there are reasons for it, but it's disappointing. It's a good starting series for both manga and anime, but I would highly recommend reading the manga or watching the anime then reading the manga, then realize how much better the manga is. And this is one of the series that got me into actually starting to read manga, because I realized how much better it is to read the original writings than watch something that is supposedly made from the original writings. That can be a completely different plot and just disappointing. It was good, but not good enough. The anime, I'm gonna give maybe 6 out of 10. No, 5. It's average. It's really just average. Starts off strong, as most do, then from the second season onwards, it is just a disappointment. But the manga, staying true to the plot, staying strong, and it's not bad. It's worth a read. It's coherent, it's readable. I got stuck into it. I was invested. I couldn't put a single book down. Like, you get reading and then I just couldn't stop. And it's just one of those mangas I'm going to put up there as one of the top. I know it's the start of a series, but I have some planned for what's the next series that I will look at. I will give this manga 8 out of 10. It was a bit disappointing, but not the manga, the anime. But, it's just things like that. It's going to happen, and it happens consistently. So, to leave it on a happy note, I have finally found a worthwhile editing software, which will hopefully help out. Will actually work. I haven't tested it yet, but I will be testing it. The reason why my last video was about an hour long was because my editing software that I was using decided, no, screw you, I am not going to export my videos that I have already edited. That was supposed to be two bloody... Anyway, I'm going to stop there. It was supposed to be 2 different videos, but now it's just, I just uploaded the full raw footage and it is scuffed. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that video, but please stick with me as I get through this annoying ass thing. And yeah, I will see you every weekday. Christmas is coming up this Sunday. That'll be good, seeing family and that. But until then, I'll see you in the next video. Remember, like, subscribe, and have a good week.